guys, welcome to this video. We're going to attempt to no doubt be told how we haven't done something in this first use check video. Just show new drivers and those who just wonder about what we actually do on a daily basis to make sure the buses that we drive are fit for work. This also applies to HGV drivers, but there's slight differences obviously in what they check and what we check due to we carry 9 people and not a load of boxes that it doesn't matter about. So first of all, you can approach the bus, you can make sure it's sitting right at level as possible, but bearing in mind that some buses might lisp to one side when they're switched off, which does happen, but check that it's not majorly lisping to one side. From here you can check, make sure the registration plate is clear, crisp and you're able to see it. Check the windscreen and desk line to make sure there's no damage on them. You can, before you use the wipers, make sure that they actually are clear, not got gouges and they're usable. And the tension is good on the windscreen and they're actually going to do some work rather than just flop about on the windscreen and fall off. At this point, this is where now people do things differently. I will personally go in, start the bus, make sure everything is, well, get the air building and then I can complete the walk around. That's what I'm going to do. We do have a little cheeky monkey on board today. Twice later on.
Hello, cheeky.
On this bus, you check the warning lights by when they come on like this. Obviously, some warning lights will be on. So once we're in neutral, fuel pump is on. Start up. So everything's good. So now we can start turning on all the lights. Make sure we have got them all on. Everything. So from here we can check the dash lights to make sure they all are working. You can probably just about see them. They are just about on. You can check the washers. It's working a lot better now. That is a massive improvement. Check indicator. So them controls are working. Whether they work outside or not, we'll discover in a minute. The misters, make sure they work. And that is everything from here. Obviously you can see, make sure the seat's not loose, not going to fall off. Make sure the mirrors, you can see from here as well, are clear and crisp and not damaged in any way. So we'll head off outside now and check everything while we build some air pressure. So I'm going to check the mirror is secure and not going to flap about in the breeze. We can check the ramp, comes out like it's supposed to, comes down. Way that's supposed to. Destination blinds working, that's important these days. You've got to make sure they are working. If they're not working, note it down. Indicator must work obviously. We'll check the doors in a minute once we've got a bit of air pressure. Wheels, make sure we've got 1 mil of tread over 75% of the tyre. Difficult to tell, but you can just get your hands in. Don't stick your hands too far. Wheel nut markers, if they're fitted to a vehicle, make sure they are pointing at each other. If they're not fitted, the way you can tell is by, if you have a look at the threads, make sure all the threads are roughly the same. If you've got one of them trims that some of the companies use, you'll find 2 threads different. That's fine because that's the ones that hold the trim on. Other than that, just making sure they're alright. Then we're going to be checking, making sure there's no damage to the bodywork, nothing that's going to cause injury to anyone, you know, walking past and cut the leg. So it's all looking good. Checking all the windows, making sure there's no breakages, no air conditioning switched on. So with that, there's a quick one. Back to the back wheel. Again, 1 mil of tread over 75%. This tyre is low, so if you was in a company, you'd probably mark this down as once checking and making sure that it is still legal. If you're in any doubt, always take it to an engineering or bring it to engineering at the forefront. They will be the final call. If you're not happy with something, let them decide. If they decide it's fit to go on the road, it's on their head, not yours. Wheel nut markers again, making sure they're all there. If you cannot have a bus on the road with 1 wheel nut marker missing. If it's got markers, they all must be there. Again, if not, the nut threads is the best way. You can't really check the inner side of the tyre. The inner one by going to the back and looking back on it. So again, making sure we've got legal lettering. Legal lettering is very important. On obviously service buses that drive every day, you'll have an address on there as well. We don't need one. but we must have a laden weight. Normally it's at the front, or it can be anywhere on the near side of the vehicle, as long as it's there and it's visible and legible. If you've got them, marker lights must work. There might be an additional extra, but they must work, front, back, everything like that. Moving around to the back, we've got to check indicators are working, all 4 of them. They will probably in service tell you to take that out because it's an additional one, but ideally they should work. Obviously tail lights, indicator, first lights you can check with someone or in a mirror, and fog lights. Just checking both sides, also making sure that there isn't an oil leak. We have one. Again, you'd raise this, if you've seen that, you'd raise it with engineering. They ultimately decide whether it's fit to go out or not. We probably would not send that out. It is only small, it might, who knows. Single lettering to say where your emergency stop is. The emergency stop is in this hatch. You must have how to get to it and how to use it. Because we're all tech these days. Again, lights, side lights, making sure your fuel filler cap is on. And you're not going to turn a corner and all your diesel is going to come out, because that will make you very unpopular with the traffic commissioner. So make sure that's there. Water, never undo it. Every company will say do not undo it, but it's a good check just to make sure it's there and it is on. Again, bodywork, glass, all the way down. Emergency exit. Make sure it opens. Make sure you can hear a buzzer. You can drive a bus on the road without a buzzer, as long as the light on the dashboard works. Or you can drive a buzzer without the dashboard light. You can't drive with nothing. Just making sure it shuts, which it does do when the lock's pushed away. Not even much look at that lock.
There we go.
Again, glass, bodywork, back to the tyres. 1 mil over 75%. This is fine. Marker lights again, markers again. Tyre wall, make sure there's good tyre wall. Glass, bodywork all the way down, all the way. Marking any damage that's there. Wheels again, tread, and obviously markers. Indicator. If you hear any air leaks, bring it up. We know we've got one. Mirror again, make sure it's firm to the bus and not going to fall off. Then we come round to the front. Now we've already checked the wipers and everything else, so we check the top marker lights are working. Again, if they're fitted, they must work. Indicators are working, normal lights are working. At this point you just hop on and you've got side lights as well.
There we are, checks full beam.
So now we can see we've got full beam on newer vehicles. You can put everything on together, or there's a check light button which goes through it all. Obviously these you can see they've turned off normal lights for the high beams. So that's just making sure they work. So at this point now we've got some air pressure, we can make sure the horn works. That works. You can make sure the doors work if they've got air pressure. Which they don't yet. Bear with us. The doors shut very violently. They open. Because we have passenger controls, we must make sure they work from here as well. We do. And then finally we must check from the emergency button outside. So all that works. So at this point now, this is now where I just turn off all the lights, the alternator then can get going again. Fire extinguisher, make sure it's present if it's there, and if you can see the gauge on it, it must be in the green. Again, you must have how to obtain the fire extinguisher, even though in the history no one's managed to obtain one. Again, from here, just making sure everything is okay in the cab. moving back now. Going to be checking, and now I'm not going to do it all because you can tell there's a lot of us, but making sure all these bars are secure to the vehicle and not going to fall off. Making sure the bell works. Yeah. On modern vehicles with the stupid Bluetooth wireless system, you have to give it a few seconds in between each bell, otherwise it doesn't work. Making sure the disabled one works, which this one doesn't, so on that case that wouldn't be able to go out. I'm up here. So disabled bell doesn't work, so it won't go out, need engineering to it first, but just making sure the seats are firmly on the vehicle and not going to fall off. Now you don't want some fat person sat on it and disappear. Making sure all the seats are free as well from oil and other contaminants that people put on the seats, so they're not going to damage anyone's clothing. There's no sharp edges on the inside. Obviously the bus is clean, but again, just making sure. I mean, this rattles, but you know, it ain't going anywhere. The seats aren't going anywhere. Well, and that's all the way. Then obviously you have to check the emergency door works on the inside as well. So that is everything. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.